welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be new here, my name is Jess. I have no idea what this was, but jazz hands. A big comfy sweatshirt obviously gives away kind of that today is going to be a more relaxed video. I actually just wanted to sit down and talk about my year on Booktube. I know I did my Booktubers I'm thankful for, subscribers I'm thankful for kind of thing last week, but I wanted to sit down and talk about a few things that I've noticed on Booktube, not necessarily negative because a lot of people I know do these things, but just traits and common things that I see on Booktube, and not necessarily just on Booktube, but also in the book community. And there are things that I would like to see us leave behind in 2017 and new traits that I would like to see us adapt and build on in 2018. I am going to eventually be filming like a where I want to see my channel at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. That'll come later on in this month, but this video is just habits and traits that I see in people on Booktube. Now, I am honestly not really a negative person. I know maybe some people think that, but I'm really not. I tend to think that everybody has good intentions, but I honestly, there are a few things that I've seen on Booktube in the last year and in the book community the last year, and I just wanted to touch upon those and kind of give you guys encouragement to maybe think differently about how you're speaking to people about books, think differently about how you're, going about your content on Booktube, things like that. Now, I am no pro. I really honestly am not. I'm still getting the hang of Booktube. I'm still getting the hang of book reviews, what I think of books, things like that, but I did want to go ahead and just kind of share my opinion and my feelings on things. And this is honestly inspired by Sylvia. You guys know I love Sylvia. I talk about her all the time. She does do quite a few discussion videos, and she did one a while back that was more of like things that are happening on Booktube, like discussions on Booktube, and I wanted to sit down and film my own for that. But it's been a long time in the making. I'm finally here to do it, but let's go ahead and get into it, because if I don't, this intro is going to be like 16 minutes long and no one wants to see that. So the first thing I notice a lot on Booktube, and this is also something that I am guilty of, is voicing an opinion on something and then not sticking to it. Now, we as people change and grow, within a year, within a couple of years, everybody is growing and changing. That's a normal, natural thing. But I think at the basis of it, people go, okay, this thing really upsets me, be it a character who verbally abuses somebody, a character who physically abuses somebody, anything like that. And then a character comes along that they kind of love and value and think is a great character, but they still have those traits, and people tend to make excuses for characters that they actually love. Now, me personally, I do not like abusive characters, but just as an example to throw myself under the bus here, Kaz from Six of Crows, to me, was a very emotionally abusive person. But obviously I really also like Rhys-Ann. Now, Rhys-Ann also has some physical and mental abusive traits in him. So I would like to see with myself and other people on Booktube to really think about things that you value, think about things that you have problems with, and actually stick to them. Actually find out whether or not these things are important to you, and whether or not, because you can't just go out there and be like, this is my opinion on something, and then like a week or two later change it. So I would like to see people have more concrete values, things that they have trouble with, things that they have problems with, things like that, and actually stick to them. Now, the next one here is more specific to Booktube, although I guess it could also be to Bookstagram. It is time and effort. Now, I am guilty of this as well. This is why this list exists. These are things that I struggle with. I used to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday was my filming schedule, and I was really, really on about filming this day, editing this day, uploading everything all together so that I didn't have to worry about it throughout the week. Now, a lot of people on Booktube, me included, take that a little too seriously. I was talking to a good friend about, I was missing some uploads because there were things happening in my family. Like recently, this past week, if you guys haven't seen more than one video, it is because we actually had a death in our family. Now, I'm fine, everything's fine, but that is why obviously I haven't been recording, because my recording schedule used to be so strict that if something like that happened, something important that required my time, I couldn't give all my effort and time into filming and editing, and also my heart and my mind just wasn't in it. My family was grieving. There have been things happening in my family. So for me, it's like prioritizing as well. But the big thing is a set time and effort into Booktube, and knowing when it's okay to take breaks, and letting your subscribers know, who these subscribers have also become my friends, so letting my friends know this thing is happening in my life, and not asking for forgiveness if you need to take time off. Like, the time and effort I put into Booktube is very, very important to me, obviously, but my family, my life outside of Booktube is also very important. So I think my big thing that I want to go into 2018 with is learning to kind of balance them. Now, this is a very, very big topic that I want to speak about. It is learning that your value is not on what other people think. Whether or not other people find value in your content, in your photos if you're doing, Bookstagram, in your videos if you're doing Booktube, Your value as a person does not depend on whether or not somebody else finds value in that. Somebody is going to come along in your life who is going to think that what you are doing is, you know, a waste of time. They're going to think it's pointless. They're not going to understand. Now, that does not mean that what you are doing is not important. It does not mean that what you are doing is not valuable. I struggled with when I first started my channel. I came into it with a little bit of unrealistic expectations on how quickly I was going to meet people. As I've said before, it's never been about subscribers. That does not matter to me, but it was about making friends, and I felt like I was not making friends as quickly as I would like to, and I realized that I was putting too much into whether or not people were finding the things that I enjoyed or the things that I was doing valuable, and I really struggled with that, and it really did get me down for quite a while. But I realized more and more over the last year that whether or not somebody finds value in something that I'm doing, value in something that I believe in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because I find value in it, and it makes my life worthwhile, and it makes my life so rich and wonderful that it doesn't matter whether or not people enjoy that. I love making videos. I love sitting down and making videos, whether or not people even watch them. I'm really excited to have all these videos to look back on in my life. Maybe show children if we decide to have them. You know, it's like a way to connect with people. It's how I communicate with the people that I love. My family watches this, my friends watch this, so it's really nice to have. Whether or not people on the internet find value in that, who cares? Now, the next thing I want to talk about kind of blends into another one that I talked about earlier. It's being transparent on YouTube. You guys know that I am very, very transparent about my mental health. I'm very transparent about things that happen in my life, and I would love to see that more from people. Now, the reason why I said this blends into another one, it's talking about when something happens in your life and you can't upload, you can't, you know, you don't have the time, the mental stability to do it at the time. I think it's very important to be honest and open about those things. You obviously don't need to give the entire backstory. You don't need to tell everybody, oh, this is what happened and this is why I'm like that. You know, just being open that you are struggling, you know, things are happening in your life. I think that it's very, very important, because once I started doing that is actually when I started connecting with people, and that is why I really value this community, because I feel like people who like me genuinely like me because they really know who I am as a person, and I think that is incredibly important. And I think that my best friends that I have made on here are also open with me, and I am open with them. So I think that that is how we kind of build relationships. Now, the second part of this video is going to be more on things that I see happening on Bookstagram mostly, but also just in the reader community. So kind of excluding YouTube a little bit more, but it has kind of a little bit of YouTube in there, but it's more just about reading. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is books read at the end of the month. I see so many wrap-ups where people are like, oh my god, I only read 2 books. Oh my god, I only read 4 books. Like, you still read, even if you didn't read it all that month. There were months at the beginning of the year where I did not read at all, and I did not beat myself up about it, because reading is for your enjoyment. Reading is for your pleasure. It's a way that we use to escape. It is a way that we use to, you know, see these worlds that we are not a part of. And I think that people who spend so much time berating themselves for not reading as much, it's just, it needs to stop. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for people viewing your content, because it teaches them, okay, well, they read 15 books this month and they're upset that they only read 2. What does that say about me? It's portraying something that I don't think that we should portray on Booktube or on Bookstagram or anything like that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is actually reading speed. I have a couple of friends who are slower readers. I am an incredibly fast reader, and I think the stigma with fast versus slow reading needs to stop. I can read as much as I want, you know, at work. I can read before bed. You know, my life kind of caters around reading, and I have so many friends who are like, I'm so jealous that you read this much this month, and it needs to stop, because just because you read a book slower doesn't mean you enjoyed the book any less. Just because I read a book incredibly fast doesn't mean that I enjoyed it any less or more for that reason. You know what I mean? Like, people say, oh, I read a book slower so I gain more knowledge. That's fine, but you're not taking into account like how people comprehend books. Like, I have read this fast since I was younger. So for me, reading is a bit of a different experience. I still get all the same information that you get. You know, I really wish the stigma would stop. You are not better because you're a fast reader. You are not any less of a person because you're a slow reader, and I really, really wish that stigma would just go away in 2018. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is library books. I see videos where people have posted library book hauls, or they have posted library book hauls on their Instagram, things like that, I notice they get a lot less attention, and that really blows my mind because I think libraries are incredibly important. I go to the library all the time. I have library books right now. I read library books on my Kindle. I read, listen to audiobooks on my Kindle, things like that. I think that it is very, very important, and I believe it is such an invaluable resource that it's something that we can't be looking down on other people for not utilizing their library or for utilizing their library. I think that it is very important that if somebody wants to go to the library and read all the books and never own a personal library, that's on them. That's their decision, and they are no less of a reader because they decide to read in that kind of format. And the last thing that I want to talk about, the very, very, very last thing that I want to talk about, sorry, I just realized, audiobooks. People are really on about audiobooks not being reading, so I just frankly think that we need to stop condemning people for listening to audiobooks and acting like they're not readers. That is something gross that I think we all need to leave behind in 2017 because I don't think it has any place in the new year. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for following along if you're still here at the end. I know I don't want this to be controversial. That is not my point in saying this. I want people to take from it what they can. I'm in no way attacking anybody. If these are things that you do, if these are things that you are comfortable with doing, fine. I believe that if you think this is how I do things and you own up to that, then so be it. Like, no one can tell you any differently. I don't want this to be controversial. If you're gonna be any of these things that I talked about, if that's the type of person you want to be, then fine, just own up to it. That's all I'm asking, is for even more transparency. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a little bit rambly. I just had a lot of things that I wanted to get off my chest and leave behind in 2017 because I don't know how your year was, but my 2017, while it had some major ups, it had some major downs, and I would just like to start over 2018 with a clean slate and really enjoy the year. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!